Hi guys, it's Leslie here. Today we are going to be doing a tutorial on the Art Deco style pendant wrapped in copper. This is Crazy Lace Agate. If you want to see how I make this pendant, then carry on watching. So what we're going to do today is wrap this Crazy Lace Cabochon. What we're going to need is 4 pieces of square copper wire. I am using a 20 gauge, which is soft, so it's going to bend and move quite nicely. And we are going to be creating the Art Deco style pendant. So I just want to try and straighten out these wires as much as I can. For those of you who've watched the channel before, you'll probably detect a little bit of a snuffliness in my voice, so I apologise. I am just coming out of the back end of a heavy cold, which has not been much fun, I must be honest. But I think I'm on the mend now, so back to business. So I'm going to be wrapping with a half round wire on this one. So I've just cut myself a length of this. So my main base wires are approximately 10 to 11 inches long. So this is just giving us plenty of maneuverability with the actual movement of the wire going down. So I just want to secure these 4 wires together. So I'm just going to get some wraps around the bottom here nice and quickly. And obviously when you're securing your wires together at the bottom, you can use any technique you like. I like to just use half round wire, especially on the square base wires, just because it sits much nicer, much smoother against the wire. So I'm just going to squish that down with my flat nose pliers, make sure that everything is sitting nice and snug on the base wires, no gaps in there. And then I'm just going to tuck the ends around and trim these off. And then smush those ends down. So ordinarily when I've got a cold, I can continue wrapping. I'm not that much of a feeble person, but this one really smacks me up a little bit. So I've not even been wrapping much this last couple of days. Okay, so we've got the base nice and connected, nice and smooth. Now when we sit this stone into here, we actually want a gap underneath, so we want a little bit of negative space under the stone. So this may take a little bit of jiggery pokery, but you can do this with like a teardrop cabochon. It works really well with the teardrop cabochon because it just sits into the pretty much the same as that does there. Obviously I've made the bottom bend a little bit tighter than usual, but like I said, we want to have that negative space under the stone because the wires are going to have to come down the front and through this gap, so we want to try and keep that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold that in place, make sure it's sitting reasonably straight, and I'm just going to bend gently, tease those wires up to shape around the stone. So we've still got the negative space at the bottom. So we kind of start this the same as we would any other pendant, but we're obviously going to finish differently. We've got a little bit of a gap at the bottom. Okay, so stone can sit nicely in there, leaving the space at the bottom. So what we're going to do is pull those wires together and then shape these into the bail. So all I'm going to do is just pinch with my flat nose pliers, bend them up. Same on the other side, bend them up, and then pinch them in together. Straighten up those wires for the bail. So now you've got that nice shape. So I'm just going to grab myself some more half round wire and just start to build that bail. So we want the decorative wires to be coming out from inside of the bail. So what we want to do is have the front two wires creating the bail. So we'll just do 5 wraps or so up here just to secure all of this together. There we go. And then we'll give that a bit of a smoosh. And of course, ordinarily we would bend the wires forward to start securing the stone. We're not going to do that for this design. We're going to try and keep that stone loose. So you may have a few moments where the stone actually kind of just drops out for a moment. If it does, don't panic. So I'm just going to secure this back tail around the back base wire, just so we've got no loose ends. And then just smush that end in, push it all up, make sure it's nice and tidy. So we are happy with the stone's position. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the 2 front wires and pull them forwards. So that's going to make up our bail. And then 3 wires to each side. Just pull them out. So they're just out of the way for a moment. And then just bring your half round wire to the front too. So at the moment you've got this sort of T shape. So we're going to just wrap that bail. Ooh, keep hitting the camera. Wrap that bail with the half round. So we'll keep the bail simple. Obviously you can make the bail whatever you want. You could do a weave or something different altogether. Entirely up to you. It's your design. Okay, so let's just get this wrapped. Okie dokie. So once we've got enough for the bail, we will shape it round and then connect it to the neck of the bail so it's all nice and secure. I'm sorry if this is getting all blurry. And then, so we'll do a few more and relax on that. Just push it all down. And then we'll give it a smoosh, which will help straighten it all up. There we go. Okay, so with your bail making pliers, we're just going to fold that round, meet it up with the wires at the back here, and then what we'll do is we'll just pull these wires up out of the way. Don't worry too much. As long as you've got a soft wire, you can reshape and straighten your wires. So all I'm going to do is just bring the half round, I apologise, the half round without punching the camera, around the neck, and then with the tail I'm just going to go around these 2 back base wires. It's one of the problems with when you wrap when you're not 100%. It should become a little bit clumsy sometimes. I certainly do. So we'll just do 3 wraps around those base wires, and then we'll trim this off. Now we want to keep this extra bit for in a moment, so we'll just put that to one side. Okay, so with these back wires, it's up to you what you do. You know, you can sit and contemplate for a moment, think about how you want it to do, whether you want it to just come as part of the design or just loop them around at the back and somehow cut them off and connect them there. Just, you know, play with the design. So I think for me, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to connect these into the back by way of, technical term, swirls. So we're going to bend them both round, bring one in, and I'll just snip the end off one there. And I'm going to pull this one around and then swirl it back the other way. So you'll see I'm using my thumb to hold it, and that just sort of keeps it in place as I move the wire around, because I want it to sit snugly inside that frame. I'm just kind of pulling it in as I shape it. So we've got hearts, 2 swirls, and then I'll go in with my chain nose pliers and just reduce the size of that swirl so it fits in. So you can see you've got these 2 swirls, and then what we'll do is we'll just connect these with a little bit of the half round. So okay, so we've got the top and bottom swirl just connected to the back frame now, and we can put the stone back in. So you can see it just gives it that little bit of extra detail, and there is no wire ends facing out. Okay, so building the front or the decorative part of the frame. So I just want to use my nylon nose pliers just to straighten these out a little bit. Make sure that we are bending them from a place where they were not going to kink. Okay, so we've got our 6 decorative wires. So what I usually do is I start with the highest loop first. So I want to separate these out a little bit so we've got like a fan effect. This back wire is going to be the highest wire. So using my finger, I'm just going to place my finger there, and I'm just going to tease that wire over. I'm just going to bring it straight. Then we're going to do the second wire, which is obviously going to come down a little bit lower and sits in and next to it. So far we've got 2, and then the third one comes over and again just sits in next to those 2. So you can see it's already starting to do that fan effect, but we actually want to shape these to the stone a little bit. So we're going to come hold our thumb against it and just gently tease those wires around. Now it's all going to misshape because we're going to come through here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to gently tease the wires up, curve them over, bring the ends through all at once, and just push them through. And all the time you see my thumb is trying to stay sort of up on here, so we can keep these wires roughly where we want them. And then we can just kind of work the wires back to where we want them once we've got them through that gap. And then what I always do is once they're through, just get them in order, give them all a tug. And sometimes this happens where one tries to cross over the other, So just try and bring that back into line. There we go. And then the third one. So you can see now, this is where this one does get a little bit fiddly because it does want to miss shape. But we can work with that to bring it all up to line. So all I'm going to do in this moment is just pull these out to the side. And again, I'm just trying to keep them in order so they sit nice. And then you've got the first part of your shape. So you can see it's coming around. I'm just going to zoom in so you can see it's coming around and then down the edge of the stone. Once you've got them out, give them a quick pull on the old nylon jaw pliers, just so you can again work out any kinks. And there you have the first part of your front of your Art Deco style pendant. Now we're going to do exactly the same on the other side, so we just again separate them out. Now we want to try and keep them level, so we're going to use the same process, using the fingers to shape them round, but then we need to come back to the front and just tease them down nice and gently until they are roughly level. And obviously we can work things a little bit once we're at this stage. Same with the second one. I'm going to bring it over and round, push it in, sit it down next to this one, and then the third is going to come around down and sit back in there next to that one. So you can see, hopefully, you've got all three roughly level. Same thing again, we're just going to gently bring that shape, and then ends come through, and we are trying to keep them in order. Sorry, I went off camera a bit then. Trying to keep them in order so they sit nice and flat, and then that's the middle one, that's the top one, that's the one. So we go 1, 2 and 3, and then we can just manipulate the shape as we need to. Right, I'm really sorry, I'm going off camera, doing a terrible job today. And then we'll just get our nylon jaw pliers, give everything a bit of a once over, pull it all out to the side. So what you've got now is the hoops are done, the shape is done. Now we just need to build the loop that comes around. So what I like to do typically is come up and then over. We're trying to keep all of these wires so they sit nice and flush. And it depends how big you want this loop to be. You're going to come around, then bend it over. I really am doing a bad job today, I'm so sorry guys. Bend it over, and then we're just going to snip there. So these ends are just going to bend around the frame, tuck in here, around the frame, tuck in, and around the frame, and tuck in, and we have the first loop. And with this one, we can do the same. Just want to bring that up a bit because they are sitting a little bit lower. There we go. Okay, so with this side, we're going to do similar. Well, we're going to do the same. So we're just going to fold them up and then holding with your thumb nice and tight, bring it round to the back, chip chip, snip away the ends, and then we're just going to tuck the ends in around the frame and just secure all of those wire ends at the back, and then we'll just give them a squish from the front. Now the finishing touch for this one, you can see your little loops there. The finishing touch for this one is I tend to use my flat nose pliers and I just grab the tip of the bend, just ease it out. So you can see it gives it that little bit of shape. Now if I pinch here, it doesn't really pull everything out from the middle. And you can put a little bit of a wire here if you want, if you really want to get these all sat really dead flat and flush. And you know what, if you get to the end and you go, you know what, I've made a mistake, don't worry, no one will know. So yeah, just use your flat nose pliers and tease that shape into the arch. That's it. And there you have the Art Deco design. So obviously if you found that useful, or if you're going to give this one a try, just take time with it. It's a really nice design. It's not difficult. It's actually quite simple to do, but it's just a really pretty one. It just gives a bit more detail on the frame. With these end wires, you can tuck them in a little bit more if you want to. You can pull your swirl around in front of it a bit more. It's entirely up to you how you work this one. But yeah, there you go. That is the design. Obviously we've got the extra swirls on the back, and like I say, you can put a little bit across the front here if you want to. I tend to like leaving it exposed and open like it is, just gives it a bit of something. But yeah, let me know if you try this one. Let me know how it goes. Let me know what stone you use. It's always really interesting to see what people do. And then yeah, or any questions you've got, just pop them in the comments below. Hopefully in my next video I will not sound quite so stuffy. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that one. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks guys, see you all soon. Take care, bye.